welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. It was a Thursday like any other, except I left work early, a rare privilege in my line of work. The sun was still high, casting long shadows on the pavement as I made my way home, the day's warmth lingering in the air. My mind was preoccupied with thoughts of the quiet evening ahead, maybe dinner with Clara, my wife of 5 years, and perhaps a movie to round off the night. I approached our cozy little apartment nestled on the quieter side of the city, its familiar outline a welcome sight. Something felt off today, though. The door, usually a deep blue, seemed ajar. Confusion morphed into concern. I tried my key, but the lock wouldn't give. Locked out from my own sanctuary, frustration bubbled within me. That's when I heard it, soft moans floating through the thin walls, unmistakably a woman's. My heart pounded against my chest, my hands shook with a mix of cold dread and rising fury. Without a second thought, I kicked at the door. The old wood gave way under the force, and I stumbled into the dim hallway, the sounds growing louder with each hurried step towards our bedroom. I pushed open the bedroom door with such force it banged against the wall. And there, in the midst of rumpled sheets, lay Clara, scantily clad and flushed with guilt. Next to her, wielding what looked like a massage gun, was none other than my longtime friend, Mark. "Tom." "It's not," Clara's voice broke as she scrambled to cover herself. "Save it." The words tore from my throat. I couldn't believe my eyes, my wife, my friend, in our bed. The shock rooted me to the spot for a moment, then anger flared hot and violent within me. Mark stood up, holding the massage tool awkwardly, his face the picture of a man caught in the worst possible scenario. "Tom, buddy, I can explain." "Explain?" I advanced, fists clenched. "Get out. Both of you, get out now." The room was thick with tension, each second stretching infinitely as Clara and Mark gathered their scattered clothing. I stood at the doorway, a silent sentinel, watching as the two most trusted people in my life shuffled past me, their heads down, their exit punctuated by the heavy thud of the door closing behind them. The silence that followed was suffocating. Alone, the betrayal gnawed at me, a visceral pain that demanded action. I slumped against the wall, my mind racing. This betrayal wouldn't go unanswered. Revenge, a concept I'd never entertained before, now pulsed through my veins like a siren call. As the initial shock subsided, a plan began to take shape. I'd divorce Clara, sever all ties with Mark, and rebuild my life from the ashes of this treachery. They would realize the gravity of their mistake, but by then, I'd be long gone, my path forever parted from theirs. This was just the beginning. The night grew darker, the stars outside indifferent to the turmoil within. I sat there, in the quiet aftermath, the outlines of my new life, and my revenge, slowly crystallizing before me. The next morning arrives with a gray, overcast sky, matching the turmoil in my heart. The usual sounds of the city seem muted, as if the world senses the shift in my universe. I wake up alone, the other side of the bed cold and untouched, a stark reminder of last night's revelation. Today marks the beginning of my retribution. I start by changing the locks. The locksmith, a middle-aged man with a sympathetic nod, doesn't ask any questions. As he works, I head to the kitchen to make coffee, the mundane act a temporary distraction from the chaos. The silence is suffocating, and I'm grateful when he finally announces he's done. With the apartment now secure, I pull out my laptop and begin drafting the divorce papers. The words blur together, a jumble of legalese that doesn't quite capture the betrayal. I'm about to print the document when my phone buzzes, a text from Clara. "Clara, Tom, can we talk? I'm so sorry. Please." I stare at the message, anger bubbling up again. I type out a response, my fingers stiff with resentment. There's nothing to talk about. You'll get the divorce papers soon. Clara, Tom, please. It was a stupid mistake. Come to the cafe where we first met. For old time's sake. The plea tugs at something within me, but the anger holds stronger. I decide to confront her, if only to see if there's any remorse in her eyes. Me, fine. 30 minutes. The cafe is quiet when I arrive, the usual morning rush over. Clara is already there, sitting at our old table by the window, her eyes red-rimmed. As I approach, my resolve wavers slightly. This is the woman I loved, the one I shared countless dreams with. Tom, she starts, standing up, her voice shaky. I can explain. Explain? I echo, the hurt resurfacing. How do you explain betrayal? It wasn't what it looked like, Clara pleads, her hands trembling. Mark was helping me set up a surprise for you. I pulled a muscle, and he was just trying to help with his massage gun. It looked wrong, but it wasn't what you think. Her words falter as she tries to gauge my reaction. I scoff, the story sounding too convenient, too tame. A surprise? Really, Clara? You expect me to believe that? It's the truth, Tom. I swear. Her eyes search mine, desperate for a sign of belief, but I'm too far gone. Even if that were true, the trust is broken. You should have told me. We're done here. I turn to leave, her soft sobs trailing behind me. The coffee sits untouched, the bitter aroma lingering as I step back into the chill of the morning. I feel a hollow victory. Whether her story is true or not, the damage is done. My path is clear, even if it's lined with shards of our broken past. As I walk away, my phone buzzes again. It's a message from Mark, his first attempt to reach out since the incident. Mark, Tom, we need to talk. I owe you an explanation. Face to face. The plot thickens, and despite my better judgment, I find myself responding. If there's more to the story, I need to know, all of it. My quest for truth, or perhaps my need for a clearer revenge, guides my next steps. You have 1 hour. Meet me at the park. I pocket my phone, my strides purposeful. This isn't just about moving on anymore, it's about uncovering the full extent of the deception. Whatever comes next, I'm ready. The intrigue of betrayal continues to unfold, and I'm at the center of it, the architect of my own retribution. The park is bustling with the usual mid-morning crowd as I arrive. Joggers weave through the paths, and distant laughter from children playing fills the air. I find Mark already waiting for me under an old oak tree, his posture tense, hands shoved deep into his jacket pockets. As I approach, he looks up, his expression a mixture of regret and resolve. Tom, he starts, his voice low, thanks for coming. I nod, keeping my face unreadable. Let's hear it then. Mark takes a deep breath and begins. Look, I know how it looked, but you've got to believe me, it wasn't what you think. Clara was planning a surprise party for your birthday. She wanted to keep it a secret, went all out. She hired me to help with the arrangements because she knew we were close, thought it would keep the secret better. I cross my arms, skeptical. And the massage gun? He shifts uncomfortably. She hurt her back moving stuff around for the party setup. I just happened to have the massage gun in my car from my gym sessions. It was innocent, man. I swear. His words hang between us, heavy with the plea for understanding. I feel a flicker of doubt, but the betrayal still stings too sharply. So, you expect me to believe that? After everything? I challenge. I know how it looks, but I'm telling you the truth. Mark's eyes meet mine, earnest and pleading. Ask her about the party, check with the event planner she hired. It's all there. A silence settles as I process his words. Could I have been wrong? No, the anger argues back, don't fall for it. I'll check into it, I say finally, the investigator part of my mind needing to see all the angles. But this doesn't change things, Mark. You should have called me when she got hurt. It all could have been avoided. Mark nods, regret etched across his features. I know, and I'm sorry. I messed up by not calling you. I panicked. The admission cools some of my anger, replaced now with a weary resolve. I need some time, Mark. I gesture between us, it's going to take a while to get past, if ever. I understand, he says, his voice low. I'll give you space. Just, please check out what I told you. For your own peace of mind. As we part ways, the doubt nags at me more than I want to admit. I head straight to the event planner's office, a determination to uncover the truth propelling me forward. The office is a small, brightly lit space in a busy strip mall. The woman at the desk greets me with a smile. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm here to ask about a party being planned by Clara, my wife. Her smile fades slightly as she pulls up the records. Yes, Clara. She was organizing a surprise party for Tom. That's you, right? Everything is here, the bookings, the payments she made. She wanted it to be special. The documents she shows me confirm Mark's story, receipts, plans, a list of invited friends, all secretly arranged for a celebration I was never supposed to know about until the right moment. The drive home is a blur as guilt and relief battle within me. I had been so ready to cast everything aside, fueled by hurt and the desire for retribution. But now, armed with the truth, the road to reconciliation seems just as daunting as the path to revenge once did. Sitting alone in the quiet of the apartment, I make a decision. It's time to talk to Clara, really talk, to mend what's been broken, if it's not too late. The next steps are unclear, but one thing is certain, the journey back from betrayal is about to begin, and it starts with a phone call. The air is thick with tension as I dial Clara's number, the phone's ring echoing through the empty apartment like a drumbeat leading to an inevitable confrontation. After 3 long rings, she answers, her voice cautious, a shadow of its usual warmth. Tom, she whispers, as if speaking any louder might shatter what's left between us. Clara, we need to talk, I say, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions roiling inside me. I'm glad you called, she replies, a tremble in her tone. I've been a mess, thinking about everything. Please, can we meet at home? I want to explain everything in person. All right, I'll be there in 30 minutes. The drive over is a blur, my mind replaying every lie, every hidden truth. As I turn onto our street, the familiar sight of our home does nothing to ease the knot in my stomach. I park and head to the front door, which opens before I can knock. Clara stands there, a ghost of her former vibrant self, eyes brimming with tears. Without a word, I follow her inside. Tom, before you say anything, please just hear me out, Clara begins, her voice breaking. I was planning that party because I felt us drifting apart. I thought maybe, if I could show you how much you mean to me, it might fix things. I listen, a stone settling in my heart. The truth is more painful than the imagined betrayals because it's laced with real neglect, real misunderstandings. I believe you, I finally say, and her eyes widen with a flicker of hope. But it doesn't change the fact that you didn't trust me enough to tell me what was happening. Our marriage was supposed to be about us, together. Clara nods, wiping away tears. I know, and I'm so sorry. Can we try to? No, I cut her off, the finality in my voice echoing around the room. It's too late. I can't live with the shadow of doubt forever hanging between us. The conversation turns colder, the space between us widening with every exchanged word until nothing more remains to be said. As I turn to leave, a cruel plan forms in my mind, a way to ensure we never cross paths again, to hurt her as she hurt me. Clara, I say, pausing at the door. I want the house, and I'm filing for sole ownership. Consider it the price of your secrets. Her face crumples. Tom, you can't mean that. I do, I interrupt. You'll get the divorce papers by the end of the week. With that, I leave her standing in the doorway, a broken figure framed by the home we once shared. The drive away from what was once a symbol of our love feels less like freedom and more like a descent into a colder, lonelier life. Days turn into weeks, and the divorce proceedings cut deeper than the sharpest knife. Through lawyers, we tear apart the life we built together. The home is signed over to me, and Clara is left to rebuild from scratch, her financial situation as broken as our marriage. The last time I see her is in court, where the lines of grief and betrayal have aged her beyond her years. Our eyes meet across the room, filled with mutual regret and unspoken apologies. But it's too late for sorries, too late for what-ifs. As I walk out of the courtroom, the taste of victory is bitter, laced with the poison of my own making. I've won the house, the assets, but at the cost of everything that once made me feel alive. Clara and I part ways, the hatred of betrayal sealing the chasm between us forever. Months later, I learn that Clara moved out of the city, her name coming up in conversations as a whisper of the past. Rumors say she's struggling, that the divorce left her with little to start over. And while part of me feels justified, another, deeper part, feels the gnawing pangs of guilt. The revenge I sought was cruel, treacherous, and ruthless. It was meant to be my final act of retribution, but as I sit in the sprawling, empty house, it feels more like my own life sentence, a constant reminder of the cost of vengeance. Alone, with nothing but memories of better days, I realize too late that the greatest deception was not Clara's, but the lie I told myself about what it means to win.